I have
Yeah.
2 of them for some reason.
Oh, he's awful. Well, maybe not awful. Nobody ever uses him.
All of the junior guys are great. They're just not being used.
Yeah. Well, they're used
Milk Milk is the
sometimes.
best.
They're used sometimes.
Well, yeah.
I looked at TikTokovich for the fog map, but decided not to go with him.
Yeah.
I like Bill Tell. He would probably get me.
I mean, it takes out of. I mean, the AP control is always fun.
No, he doesn't have AP control. That's a robot.
Yeah, Roback has the AP control Tikakovich. He's got range, right?
Yeah, it's 3. It's
Freddie Mercury has range.
Line of sight,
That
Yeah.
guy, not so much.
which is why it might have been good for Bob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he would have been fine.
If you used him with Penule, he can attack 3 times.
Yeah. All right.
Sure, they don't have Panda.
So, how did you guys get into Krosmaster? How did you guys start?
So I saw Krosmaster Arena first at KimuraCon, which is actually a anime convention in Vancouver, Washington, just across the bridge from Portland. And I was actually volunteering for to help out the Pokemon people and get those events going. And in the same room, we happened to be game people. So Japan Anime Games was showing off Krosmaster, and just kind of seeing the board set up with the of course they had the pimp resin set out, and just kind of briefly being told what the rules were. I was like, oh great, this is strategy game but on a board game type. So I immediately wanted to figure out what it was, did some demos, and then just ended up getting the whole kit and caboodle right then and there.
That's kind of similar to how I got into it. I saw it at SakuraCon, which is in Seattle. Walked around, and they were kind of tucked away in the corner, and I kept walking by and saw people playing, but I saw the XL set, and I said, oh, that's kind of cool. What's this all about? And we did a little demo, and the person I was with played with me, and she was like, I don't really see it, but I could kind of see the potential, because I knew, they show you the very basic rules, and I could see, okay, there's a lot more to this, and I like this kind of strategy game, so I took a chance, and I got the base set, and then ended up getting into it quite a bit.
Awesome.
Yeah, I was a little hesitant at first, but then I realized that the resin set I had just bought for $75 sold for like $300. So basically, went and got an extra one of that and paid for my whole collection right there. So it was a really good lucrative start.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Basically, the initial buy-in was free, which was amazing, and then just kind of got hooked from there once I actually started playing and realizing how good of a game it was.
That's really great.
Yeah,
Wow.
the promo was for me. I thought, buy the base set, you get 2 promos. So that was kind of a, if I'm going to get it, I should get it now rather than wait. And it was worth it, I think. And shortly after, I started volunteering for the company, and then made it even less money that I had to spend to get the stuff I wanted, which is great.
Yeah, they had a really good deal going too as well. I mean, I bought the initial buy-in was steep, but it came with everything. So basically, if you bought the base game, I think, which was 80, and then all the other stuff, the resin, everything, they actually gave a full set of the 8 promos. So I got up front, I got like Nox and Gultar the Barbarian and all that stuff. So it was
Nice.
good to start playing with all that.
It took a long time to get Nox. Long I probably should have, just because I didn't want to pay for him.
Yeah.
I started out with Gultar and Argon.
That was selling points, right? Because they're saying, these promos are only for tournaments, and then they're being offered right there. I was like, I don't even know how to play tournaments this yet, so it was a good starting point, like I said. And it just, the artwork and the game pieces are beautiful, and then it's actually a really good game as well. So that's kind of icing on the cake.
Yeah, and the smaller official tournaments that they ran really helped a lot too. For me, it was a bit of a drive coming down from near Seattle to Portland, but they did an extra kind of regional tournament at a local game store, because that's where Eric is from.
Yeah.
And then that's where me and Kevin, where we met in our first, we didn't actually play each other, but we were both at the same tournament.
Right. That was the Portland, Oregon regionals at Guardian Games, and
Yeah.
the prize. So instead of giving out, I think some of the other regionals had XL statues. They gave out a PAX 3-day pass, basically.
Yep. Or 4-day. It was you got a free pass to PAX.
The whole thing, whatever it was. I mean, it was a good value. It was like I think 100 or more value. It was equivalent.
Well, because the PAX tickets get
Yeah.
crazy, and all the scalpers buy them and then resell them to make a profit.
And it's really hard to get into PAX.
And it was kind of funny because it turned out you didn't actually need a PAX badge to be in any of the cross.
I still have yet to go to PAX, and I'd love to go.
That's kind of a problem with, I think, doing tournaments at convention.
So,
yeah, as far as having them at the conventions, actually inside conventions, it gets a little troublesome when you have tournaments. For example, like at Board Game Geek-Con this year.
yeah.
But you could have, if you wanted to, snuck into Board Game Geek Con to go to the tournament, but
or you could
Day
have.
2 getting interrupted in the middle of a match to show our badges was still a tournament. Oh, if somebody had done that, they would have been kicked out probably and forfeited.
Let me Kanye Swift. Let me Kanye over here for a moment. I'm gonna let you finish, and I'm proud of you. I'm gonna let you finish, but they had badges. If anyone prior to the event had expressed interest to Eric and said, "Hey, I'd really like to go to this thing. Do you guys have any extra badges?" The answer would have been yes. That was part of the package deal on getting the BGG event there.
Yeah, but
that he had a number of badges.
But how much?
Whether or not that was communicated, it would have been a standard price. Whether it was like $80 something, which
okay,
is,
so if people wanted to buy one, yes.
if someone wanted to buy a badge, they could have bought a badge.
They could have, but that's not really advertised, and that's not something that if everyone went to Japan Anime Games and said, "Hey, Board Game Geek Con is sold out. Someone said that you may have badges. Could I buy one from you?" They had a limited number, so yes, they could have. But if that is something that they maybe advertised to everyone, then it's possible they could have sold out of the badges. So it was a limited thing.
Plus,
certainly, I'm just saying that the badges were available. If you really wanted to go, they were there. It wasn't like trying to get into PAX or something. It's not like PAX trying to get into, I don't know, say PAX East, which
but with
already
PAX,
sold out. And
with PAX, they did it at a hotel nearby, and you didn't need to have a badge to get in the convention at all, which I think is the best way to go.
Oh yeah, I know. I think outside of conventions is a great idea. But I was listening to everyone's stories there. I think you're all adorable for coming into the game so late as you did, as I am an original gangster. I was there from day one. Day one, I saw the little thing.
So you played it on Dofus in the minigame before it became a physical game. Nice.
Yep. I saw it. Then I saw the Kickstarter thing, and it was like, okay. I hate putting together minis. That sucks. Oh, these are pre-painted. Oh, well then, here, have all of my money.
So what you're telling me, Randy, is even though you're a much more experienced player for so much longer than me, it still wasn't enough at this last national.
Oh.
No, I'm saying that, sometimes it's good to let youth, take it. That way old age can just sit back and do whatever the hell old age wants to do.
Okay.
Like dress up in funny costumes.
Yeah, possibly.
So I have, obviously we've been talking a little bit about how we started. I just wanted to officially introduce you guys. I got Randy Navarro, who is a great guy from the great state of Texas, down in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, who got second place at this year's Nationals. I got Thomas Crombie, who
Mhm.
got first place at this year's nationals, and then also Kevin Krupnick, who what specific place did you get, or you got top 16?
The only one without a trophy, fourth place.
Oh,
Well, in the first year. This year I think I ended up in 11th,
so you got
which is somehow what I always end up in if I'm in the top 16.
so you got
Oh, okay. So what was everyone's place for 2014 and 2015? Because we're all participants in both national tournaments so far.
except me.
Except you.
Because I I didn't really start playing the game until the end of last year or the end of 2014. So, yeah,
That's okay. We'll forgive you.
thank you. But yeah,
Someone could check this on the internet and prove that I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that for 2014, I got 12th place. I bubbled out of top 8.
So you made top 16, but not top 8.
Yep.
I believe
Okay.
I believe that's correct.
And I made top 8, but not top 4. And they didn't have a playoff, but I think they put me at 6th place. And then, Kevin, you made 4th place. And then what was your place this year?
This year, I believe it was 11th. It was top 16. I was in a very close winning in with Jeremy Marina, who did make top 4, and it wasn't meant to be. I had an early mistake, and then made some amazing rolls to come back, and then I kind of lost steam. So that was a really close match for getting top 8.
So that's all of us from both years for U.S. national tournaments that qualified at least top 16. And the only other player that's not here with us right now is Jay Atkins, who also has been top 16 for years in a row.
and I think Eric Deesh, I think was right on the cusp of that. I know that he participated in nationals in both years, but I'm not sure about what specific ranking he had for this year.
Okay.
But
We have to double check and ask.
yeah, but as far as for availability tonight and on a great Thursday night, I'm glad you guys can make it on the show. Now, as far as
Glad to be here.
yeah, as far as the difference between how the overall competitive play at nationals level in 2014 and then this year, maybe you guys could speak a little bit about those differences and what the competitive scene has really molded into in the U.S.
Well, the game has definitely matured quite a bit from where it was in the previous tournament because Season 2 had come out, but it was very recent. As it was like right before you were allowed to go to nationals. So most players were not using the new characters. Most teams, I think, were still using just Season 1. Whereas this year now, we had Season 3 for a while. It was available online for you to practice and everything. So it wasn't quite as brand new. People kind of had figured out what the new metas were and stuff like that. Whereas 2014, the new metas were still being experimented with. So I played Kitty Rage and Randy played Eliotrope Port, which were newer teams, and Kevin played Nox, which was still a Season 1 kind of already established.
Yeah, I think that the community itself was also a lot more developed coming into this year. The first year, I had gone to the regionals and met Tom there, as he said, and that was maybe 3 or 4 of us that were kind of maybe a little more experienced. And going to nationals, it was kind of maybe 10 to 16 more experienced good players as far as the field went, and then a lot of people that were kind of walk-ins. And this year it seemed like both days there was a lot of good competition, and then also as far as top 16, it seemed like there were only maybe a few people that a little bit newer as opposed to and then a bunch and the other people that were more experienced. So I think this year's was more competitive.
There were definitely more experienced players who traveled for the tournament this year. Even though the numbers, I think, were still about equal for the total number of participants, more of those players that showed up this time were more experienced with the game, less beginners that just demoed the game that weekend and were allowed to enter and try.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think honestly, the competitive scene in the United States has really kind of caught up in a lot of ways, and I think a lot of that has to do with just the release of characters. And although the wait time for getting new characters has been kind of not the greatest, I think a lot of that has to contribute to it. You can't, if players in Europe aren't getting the same figures or as we are, like they're getting access to more figures than we are. I don't think that it doesn't really prepare us a lot for certain things. So I think that, I don't know, just a lot of practice with those times. So more time with the different characters is what I think really has shaped the community as far as with how we competitively play. And mind you, I'm also looking at it from the perspective of someone who's planning on going to Worlds this year in order to compete. So a lot of that is very much shaped like that. So it's not like just the nationals aspect, but I do think that a lot of it is kind of there's a little bit of connection there, for sure.
Yeah, and last 2014's nationals, as far as if you were trying to practice online, the game was in beta. So the new season 2 characters, they weren't actually planning on releasing them, but a lot of people complained and bothered Ankama about making them available, and they finally did, but it wasn't perfect. There were still bugs here and there. And for a while there, you could play 2 different versions of the game online. You could play the original one for ranked, which was only season 1, or you could play the beta, which was not for rank. There was a rank, but it wasn't going to stay permanent. It was only temporary. And that was definitely the way to go. As soon as they opened that up, I think if you wanted to remain competitive player moving on, you needed to immediately move to the beta, which was allowing the new characters.
Interesting thing about that beta, around the time for nationals, none of the let's say tier 1 characters were actually in that beta. There was no Malibu, no Theo, no Gine, no Durex, none of those guys.
Some of the characters weren't even available.
No Get, none of the tier 1 guys, if you will. I think he was available, but that's about it.
Geen was. You could play Cap Geen. That's what Jay used. But you're right. There were certain characters that were not available yet. So it was kind of hard to gauge how strong they would be. Durex would have been amazing if you could have taken him to 2014's Nationals. No one used Durex at all, but no one was able to practice with him online.
Yeah, so the implementation of the new Krosmaster, 3D, whatever version you want to call it, is kind of was a big deal as well, as you guys are saying.
That was, but we're talking about a different beta. The beta at the time was just to add the...
Well, I guess I'm saying in reference to this year, as far as being able to practice more teams and kind of be more up to date. Last year I agree with you on that. The definitely was limited on what, and I mean when I kind of saw online, it was basically two, the big thing was Mercator and
Mercator and Goldhard Push.
Exactly. There was basically two things. So.
Yeah, the new online 3D version of the game has come a long way. At first, I wasn't a fan. It seemed it was difficult to see what was going on the board, whereas the old version looked more like a board game, and it was easier to figure out position and stuff like that. The new one, they kind of made it really flashy and stuff, but I'm coming from like a standpoint of being a chess player. The graphics and stuff are nice, but they're not really necessary for the strategy of the game. But now it's gotten better.
Yeah, I was skeptical at first as well because I liked the view of the first one, and like you said, it is a board game. Then it was a board game online.
Right.
This is trying to act more like a video game, and even though it does still obviously keep the same mechanics and all that, but it is a little bit harder to visualize stuff.
It was definitely coming across from the version 1 to version 2. There was a learning curve, relearning the game basically.
Yeah, I'm still not 100% on board for it as far as practicing. For casual play, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of hidden information, and
Yep.
there's a lot. You can't just glance over at the other dude's card. You have to click
you have
here,
to-
click that.
Yeah.
You can't see, hit points. So it's really hard to get in the mindset of I'm going to wreck your face. It was easier to do that in the previous version, but hopefully they'll add some quality of life.
Well, and I think
enhancement.
I think in the United States, where players are so spread apart, and how you have to, if I want to go play someone who's at like the same competitive level, I have to drive 2 hours away. So it makes it a little bit. It's a little difficult to picture it. If we didn't have the 3D, or if it didn't exist at all, we'd be screwed. And it makes it good to be able to connect with people in that regard and kind of see how different things move around. But it's
this. The scene in the U.S. would be totally different if there was not an online version of the game.
I don't know that it would exist really. At least not.
Probably not.
Not if you were trying to hang with European players.
Yeah.
As far as so a little bit with some of the obviously a lot of things up in the air still with Cool Mini and doing organized play. What do you guys think? So we're left with a couple scenarios. If we can still hang in the world competitive scene. If they make an adjustment saying that qualifying tournaments, you don't need to have 32 people in order for them to count towards your points for Worlds.
They've already done that.
Well,
they've backtracked. What do you mean by they've already done that?
They're gonna have a meeting.
It's the special dispensation. That was the one piece of information that Sean did have, was that there is a special dispensation. All of the scheduled QTs are going to be QTs.
Okay.
Now, I'm certain that if like 2 people show up, there will be hemming and hawing and backtracking. But as current information, all five of those QTs are there. Now, unfortunately, and this will be the last time that I will that I'll speak publicly on it, because really I have to get into the mindset of Worlds. But I think it is mathematically improbable for an American player to make it all the way to championships for 2016, 2017. Because if someone in Europe wants it, they can get in a car and they can drive for 5 hours.
Well, I see where you're going with this. I don't think it's gonna be like that. Steve Fox, who writes for Double Critical, I had him on the show last week, and he was under the impression that basically if I perform this year the same I did last year, which means I get top 8 at a qualifying tournament and then did top 4 at the Nationals, that I would still have enough points to be able to make it to Worlds. If
I think that is a mathematical possibility, but it is improbable. I
think
think
you're
it
going
is.
to need 15 points at minimum to make top 20.
15?
That's what they're saying. It's top. Yeah, because first place at national event gets 40 points, second place gets 20. So if you assume that the top 2 from each national tournament goes, that's half the spots. And that's any tournaments will have 20 and 40 points.
We have
so the next down below is going to be.
I was under the impression they were going to open up to 48 individuals to go to Worlds.
Maybe they are. Did they put that in the announcement? How many people would be qualified to go?
At least, I want to double check that, obviously, and I'll post that along with the podcast, obviously. But from what Steve Fox was saying, it would be more so along the lines of having 48 competitors to kind of widen it up, but make it so it's more than top 4 based completely on points. It's just top 48 competitors in the world.
Based on points.
That's
fine, but then from a purely number standpoint, USA will have an even smaller presence.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what
I'm
mathematically
saying people will go from the US more than likely.
Maybe.
Yeah, if it all it would take is a concerted effort by the community to, if they want it and they want to hop in a car, they can scrub at tournaments and still get more points than the top US player.
You still have to qualify to get those. To get, what is it, 5 points from a regional qualifier, you need to take first place.
Yeah.
So just wanting it enough to pay to travel somewhere isn't going to guarantee it. If you travel, you can take first place at a couple of events. Great. I think you deserve to go to Worlds then.
But I mean,
and yeah, it's not quite as fair that they have 22 tournaments and we have 5.
I'm a big proponent of, if you do well at the national level, you do well at the national level. Congratulations, you're a national champion, etc. I don't like the idea of being able to farm events. And if the pool of events within a 500-mile radius is equal in the United States as it was in Europe, then great. My argument would go away. But because
but you're just logistics, you're not going to get that. I mean, I think I would like to see them multiply the amount of the events in the US by more, but it still wouldn't be anywhere near as like condensed as you could go to in Europe.
Yeah.
But that's just the nature of the beast. I mean,
Certainly. I didn't mean necessarily literally 1 for 1. I mean, really. I live in a state that is larger than most European nations.
Right, but what you're saying, like, I at least because the United States is so spread out, like, I wouldn't mind seeing 20 events just in the U.S. However, then that also leads to what you don't want to see happen is people can just travel and then pay and then get it. Especially
if
in the
you
US.
want it.
If you travel, let's be real. If you travel to all 20 events in the U.S. and you were using player, if they saying they had 20 events, you would probably qualify.
And you know what? That person qualifies. Because really, Ash Ketchum. Okay, let me talk Pokemon here. Ash Ketchum is the best Pokemon master. Why? Because he went across the land searching far and wide. Okay, he went to this gym and that gym and that gym and that gym.
So
I've never seen an episode where he actually wins, though, so I'm kind of.
These gym leaders did nothing. They hung out. They played in their own little area. But the one kid who wanted it to travel to each gym, sure, he's certainly the champion. Are Final Four better than him? Yeah. Better players? Yeah. But Ash Ketchum is a champion because he went and fought them all and went across the country. So if someone wants to farm 20 events,
choose the real champion here.
If someone wants to farm 20 events, I believe they deserve it. But I think it's unfair mathematically for the United States to also not have that opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, it's going to be a long time before it's going to be even.
Well, the only way to really truly make it kind of fair across the board is if somehow they did, got the software to be completely bug free into like online tournaments, so that anybody can really access it. But then again, without support and other things, they might not go to Worlds anyway. So
you have to be playing live online. All the European countries are within a 2 or 3 time zones.
We're 6 hours
the
away.
The US is 3. I mean, honestly, if you're that for a tournament, you could probably do it especially on a weekend. But
yeah.
You mean as just a country competing against itself, not as a world competing?
Yeah. Correct. I mean, bridge Europe is close together, but it still costs money to travel. So a lot of these people, and this is an assumption, I don't think a lot of these people go to every single tournament.
Well, if
they've been within their countries and doing that, and if they do restrict it to that too, then that would make it a little even more even playing field if you could only qualify or compete in countries you were citizens of.
Right.
We're also.
So, what do you guys think about the qualifying tournament schedule for the U.S. so far?
No comment.
That's fair. I support Randy.
I saw it briefly, and then now I don't remember off the top of my head. But it's probably. I mean, 5 is. Was there more?
They've only announced 5 now.
I believe were there 5 last year.
I think there were more last year.
There was more last year, and currently there are no plans for future events to be announced.
Well, for this year.
Yes.
This is what I'm gonna.
You mean on top of the 5 they already announced?
Correct.
Okay.
Well, they're also talking. Ankama and Simon are supposedly having a meeting to discuss what they want to do. They may decide that they're going to add more regional events. I don't know, but the Simon's also gone on record saying that they only plan on holding tournaments at events that they've already scheduled to go to. So they will not hold a new tournament somewhere that they don't already have plans to go to.
Well, and this is what I'll say as far as this goes, just because I do know that the conversation goes fairly cyclical, and because no one's really happy with how it goes. What I would honestly say is we can hem and haw about this, but I think that it's better for us to, as a community at this point, is to wait and see how the chips fall, and then work with it, continue to support it how we can, and then really, really be like, okay, look, we supported this as well as we could this year, given the limited amount of tournaments and the timing with everything. How about this year you work with us a little bit more? Which I don't think is necessary.
It's a transition year.
It is.
And it's not going to be perfect. And I think if they were to lean on us as players a little bit more, who are active in the community, we could help tremendously. For example, the Great Lakes Challenge that you guys just attended. I think that if, from Ankama's perspective, they look at that, that's a fairly large tournament. How many large tournaments do they have like that in the U.S.? I would say, hey, I think it's fair to say that could count as a regional qualifier. Give the players who attended that tournament the points. They deserve it. They went to a large tournament. And why not make it a regional qualifier?
Yeah. But I
just think I know it was kind of abrupt change that we didn't really see coming, and I mean, even if it's 1 year, we don't get everything we want. As long as we see them working towards it and trying to get progress, I think we gotta kind of be patient with this.
Yeah. I know.
I mean, how many years has it been out here now?
Well, yeah, but like I said, with a new not takeover, I don't know how exactly it was negotiated, but with a new company handling organized play, I just don't expect them to get everything right on the first shot, especially because a lot of this stuff was probably already talked about before the announcement was even made.
And what we also have to understand is that it's not only a change as far as stateside. We also have to remember that Ankama is going through a lot of different changes too. As far as the production line switching from one company in a completely different country to another country, as far as with who's producing, actually like physically making their merchandise. The design aspect of it is changing. The focus on trying to do all these, trying to really figure out, okay, what can we do to try to make it so people can catch on to this, but at the same time keep the other people interested. Whereas kind of the brain power behind that has changed drastically. It's it's a difficult spot for all parties, and yeah, it's
No, I completely agree, and I think that this year we'll see. Obviously as the year goes on, we'll see what happens more with Kaman as far as in their relationship with Ankama and what they plan on doing here. And like you said, Ankama is going through a lot of shakeup themselves. I'm not even sure they have their plan for themselves completely set. So as far as Kaman being a third party and then trying to do organized play in the United States, it's kind of a mess right now. But I think that if we don't see a big improvement next year, then maybe we'll start getting worried.
yeah.
Yeah, I think unfortunately these sort of things can't happen in a vacuum. I think there needs to be more communication, even if it's, hey guys, we got nothing new right now, because then at least it seems mindful towards the community. Because the other day I got a question from one of the stores that I used to demo at. Full disclosure, I used to be a Team Japanime volunteer, and I used to run the organized play for the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Those not familiar with the size of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, pull out a map of the United States, look for Rhode Island. It is the size of Rhode Island. Now, I had one of the stores go, hey, we were talking about having our regionals here. When are we going to get more information about that? So I think there was a time that regionals were going to shift from conventions to stores, and it's a bit of a disappointing backtrack for that relationship to no longer be there.
Yeah, and I kind of ran through a similar thing, and with full disclosure, I also used to be a Japanime Games volunteer. I think really all of.
I'm not disclosing anything, guys.
Okay, that's fair.
I don't know if my efforts would count, but I was halfway there.
Okay, halfway in, halfway
Half
out. That's I appreciate that. Well, I ended up basically was approached by a convention that was going to happen in the beginning of May, and I was approached by someone basically because the previous year they were given some product to give away, just a bunch of promo, like literally just blind boxes from season 2, and in that situation, I was basically told that yeah, we'll do that again this year. But then things changed, and now because the relationship has changed and no longer doing that, it's a backtrack thing that isn't necessarily honored by the new arrangement at all. It was a bit of a bummer, but I think that like overall, it's not completely. It's not like they're like, oh well, why would that happen? That's ridiculous. I can't believe that would happen. It's just a little bit of a bummer.
You mean when the Japanime gave away free season 2 blind boxes for like events?
Yeah.
To their members to hand out.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a different company. I don't think it's fair to expect them to, use the same business practices. It would be nice.
I was just talking about for regional events. I'm sorry, I didn't mean necessarily the way organized play runs in general.
Oh, okay. I thought so, but I mean, okay. Yeah, I was just more so like, oh, the way they run things or the way they think about doing things.
I have a store. Okay, that's fair. But yeah, I actually have a store that thought they were going to be running regionals for the 2016-27 season. Yeah, the 2016-27
International Tabletop Day. Do you think Simon will be putting up Krosmaster stuff for International Tabletop Day?
I don't think they have any product.
No, not yet.
So it wouldn't even be an option.
I think
So this will be the first year that the International Tabletop Day Geek and Sundry are not having Krosmaster as one of their sponsors.
Well,
they may
maybe.
have season 1 through 3 as their sponsor. I don't know what Japanime Games plans are.
And I think
Right.
it's totally possible that we could have Quest by that time too.
What is the release date for Quest? Has anyone seen? Has there been an official announcement other than a crappy photograph of a flyer that's probably from Canada, which Canada doesn't actually exist. So,
Quest? Didn't that come out 2 years ago?
And probably that
Confused.
could have been a leaked image that was not supposed to be official.
yeah, has there been anything official,
No.
or are we all going by that one crappy photograph?
We're all going. It's all rumors and hearsay at this point.
I haven't seen this amazing photograph. Quest, isn't it? It came out 2 years ago. That's when I spent money.
I don't know if they're operating under the no news is good news kind of old cliche, but in all honesty, at this point, no news is bad news.
Yeah.
At this point, having not heard anything official for so many months, people are probably just giving up hope. At this point, they need to hear something, even if it is, "Hey guys, we're taking over, and this is going to be released in some in the future. We don't have a tentative date right now, but please bear with us." That at least gives us some good faith to go on. But right now, absolutely having nothing, they're not even like acknowledging anything. I don't know. It's concerning.
Yeah, we've had what, contact from Japan, but not confirmation from Kawan. Is that what?
Basically,
Yeah. Well,
I mean, we
Sorry.
know what's up, but they haven't gone on record and said anything. So.
no, I'm not holding my breath. I think it's ridiculous. I think the fact that even Japan didn't send out the promos after it was delayed for 6 months, they should have done that because a lot of people are still waiting for those.
Yeah.
Like at the very least, that would have been like a good face sort of thing. Like, oh, well, you bought this. Here are the promos. We're still waiting on the game.
Yeah.
Right. I don't know. Quest is about the worst thing that's happened to this game by far. So,
Well, I think
Yeah.
I agree, but it's also one of those things like Mega Man board game. No one talks about it. It's really not that great. I tried playing it. Not a fan. It takes a long time and it's a really, really drawn out. Oh, I'm rolling dice. Oh, I'm doing the same thing that I've been doing the entire time. But the Kickstarter for that and the release date were over 2 years apart. It sucks. A lot of people don't like it, but it does happen where they go through issues. It's not uncommon. Why?
It's not uncommon, but I think that the time frame is uncommon.
Also, there's other things to be aware of. I wouldn't call this a 1-for-1 because with the Mega Man game, they were was it Jasco
Jasco Games.
was creating the game and from scratch and dealing with a licensor. Now, I have actually dealt with Capcom. Capcom is amazing. They'll tell you something Tuesday and then they'll change your mind Thursday. It's
Okay, look. A lot of this is perspective, and that's probably what Randy's getting at.
But Jasco could at least had some communication. It was terrible communication, but it was some. Whereas in the scenario for Quest, the answer from Ankama at first was any day now, any day now, any day now, and then it became, oh, it's not our fault. Ask these other guys. They never addressed the issue and said, hey, making games is hard, or hey, our lead developer disappeared on us, or any communication like that.
Well,
Jasco, making games is hard. Plus, they had to deal with Capcom, and I'm sorry people are angry about not getting their, from what you just said, kind of crappy game, but at least that's the cost of doing.
It doesn't play that well. I tried,
but my point is perspective. I for Mega Man. I also Quest. Mega Man was kind of like I kept getting updates. It's like, okay, cool, they're making progress. I didn't realize it was like, what, a year and a half or something. It was a crazy amount of time, but I didn't feel like I waited that long. With Quest, I feel like it's been 10 years.
And I,
Literally every time it's like, just the answer is, oh, it should be coming any day.
Any day now.
It's how you handle it.
well,
It's not waiting 2 years. It's what are you thinking while you're waiting those 2 years?
and I understand that, but I guess my whole point is there's a certain aspect of if we're still involved in this game, and if we're still like, do you think it's possible for people? Obviously, some people know. Do you think it's possible for the vast majority of us who love Krosmaster still? Do you think it's possible for us to kind of like be like, okay, well, forgive and forget with this one?
Definitely, but
I
I
think it's
mean, we
possible.
need to see a change.
There has
And
to be.
we're still getting more of the same.
Yeah,
we're
there's
getting
got to be
stonewalled.
something.
This is a very good game. It has a lot of potential to attract a lot of people, and there's always new people discovering new games. So I don't think there's a point where we can say if we don't get a following by X time, then then it's gonna die. I mean, as long as the product is being sold in the U.S. and is continuing to be supported by some company. I know that obviously that those are intertwined. If they don't get sales, they're not going to keep doing it. But the thing that helps that is that people do love the game for its looks, and even as like the casual players, as long as the sales keep up, we'll always have a shot. Because if it's in the U.S., you can always create a following. It's just getting the right support.
There's no direct competitor. If there was a direct competitor and we're like, so they have an equivalent product and Quest gets delayed 2 years and then Super whatever.
Super Dungeon Explorer, Arcadia Quest.
Yeah, but
They're
it's not the
direct
same
competitor,
game at
but-
all.
Yeah.
No, but if there was another game that was nearly identical to it and they were making progress, then yeah, people may jump on board with somebody else. And who's to say that they won't come out with an actual Final Fantasy Tactics miniature game and everyone will jump on board with that?
That would probably kill
People would lose their shit if that came out in real life. They're like,
Because what does everyone compare Krosmaster to? Oh, it's like Final
Right.
Fantasy Tactics, but a board game.
But that's who knows if that will ever happen. But I mean, and even so, I think you can still find a niche following because then they'll be like, oh, everybody loves Final Fantasy Tactics. We want to play a game that nobody loves. It's Krosmaster.
Right, but people are not invested into that kind of walkthrough universe like they are in France.
yeah.
They're trying
Correct.
to start here with putting it on Netflix and stuff like that. And if that's successful, I'm sure Krosmaster will in turn become more successful. But something that has an established franchise here would do much better. You're trying to build something from scratch, whereas in France they have the roots they can, and the foundation already set.
Right. Well, I think one thing that I do hope they do is I hope they release Dofus as at least an English subtitle. I would hope an English dubbed version as well, similar to that of Wakfu. I would hope that if they released a full length movie like that, I feel like it would a lot of people would enjoy it here as well.
You're talking about a Dofus animated show like Wakfu?
Dofus movie.
No, the Dofus movie that just came out.
What the new Krosmaster 2.0 base set that will come out in a few years probably.
Okay. Yes, they do too. They need to release it subtitled, and they need to probably do it dubbed as well.
But I would really hope that they would make its way over here, especially more than just a Kickstarter that I'm spending like $100 on to get on eBay because I didn't have the Kickstarter because I wasn't a fanboy at that point.
The
Well,
anime.
there will
Yeah.
more than likely, if they don't do an official release, there will be a fan-made release. Because if you look at Dofus Adventures of Cherubim
Yeah.
and even the Gultard the Barbarian mini episode, those were subtitled
Yeah.
in English, but they never had an official Kickstarter like Wakfu did to pay for that. So the fans will translate the movie, and it'll inevitably show up online, which may or may not be a big help in growing the game. An official release, something like on Netflix, would be the best way to go.
Yeah, I agree. So kind of transitioning a little bit away from a more what can we do to grow this and what how crappy it is to be an American who loves Krosmaster. How about
These are your questions.
Maybe one of the only times it's crappy to be American.
I mean, hey, to be fair, they are my questions, but my answers, I'm a little bit more of a positive spinner, I guess, when it comes. I'm like, no, Krosmaster's going to be great. It's going to be great forever. USA is going to always love Krosmaster. It's going to grow so big. That would be awesome if it did. But so right now, as far as lists that... What are the lists that you ran in the 2014 versus the lists you ran in 2015 at the national level? And what are some... Have you been playing recently with the new 2.0 figures, or do you have any other lists that you've been kind of poking around that you feel comfortable revealing and enjoy?
So, 2014, I think as Tom kind of alluded to before, I ran, or I don't know if it was Tom or whoever, but I ran Ox team at the time. It was kind of, I think, pretty common for what people ran with Nox. I ran, I believe Nox, Coagulate, Fernsockum. I'm probably forgetting one or two others. So basically, 10 pole with Nox. And 2015 day one, I ran a Mercator team, kind of recommended by Lido da Vinci, and then second day I ran a Count Frigos team. And it was kind of fun to play two different teams and get kind of more experience with those sort of things. And as far as 2.0, I have not been that active with Krosmaster recently, so I'm kind of interested in hearing what you guys have done with that as well.
2014 Nationals, I ran a Kitty Rage team. I played her with Anatomy, Lucky Look, and Poochan for extra movement, and Coagulary for extra damage. And then in 2015, Kitty got a huge nerf with the boss list, so it was pretty much no longer an option. So I went with Black Crow, who was very reliable and a boss, but less affected by the boss change. But rather than play him in like a swarm team with a bunch of little low levels, I decided to choose something that was complementary but different. So I used Harry Saw. Harry and Crow are excellent together, so with the armored Crowbacks. And then as far as 2.0 goes, obviously Bakura is amazing, especially with Annual. I've played with her quite a bit. I think everyone's default is Lilith, just for looking at raw damage that she can do. But I think Bakura is the one that is going to be better because that range is just crazy.
I think you meant Julith, right?
Did I say Lilith?
You did.
Okay, well, Julith.
I mean, I understand that you're a fan of the feminist kind of concert series, the Lilith Fair, that came out in the 90s and 2000s. Totally understandable. It's a great concert.
Sheryl Crow?
Yeah, Sheryl Crow. Not gonna lie, my mom went there and she took me on my birthday when I was...
Happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Over 10 years ago.
Yeah, well over 10 years. Look at this.
8 days. What are you guys getting me?
When's your birthday?
8 days.
I think Randy's getting you a young Ogrist.
8 days.
Yeah. Yeah,
Fantastic.
you can.
Ooh. Hey, it's the thought that counts. It really is.
Yes.
Yeah, so Jay at the Great Lakes Challenge had like, I'm not even exaggerating, close to like, I want to say upwards of 45 young Ogrists.
Oh wow.
Wait, what? Why? Am I
Oh no,
something?
Ankama gave support for that.
Yeah, they sent support.
So they also sent.
And it was just young ogres.
It was just young ogres.
That is so telling. That right there
Is that kind of like when
Nobody
you hit the
wants
print
these
button
things.
too
Here,
many
have
times
fun.
because it doesn't print the first time, and then like you end up getting 50 copies of the same document?
No, I think it's because they saw that I wanted to make a chess set, and I figured that I could use Young Ogress as the
Oh.
pawns.
That makes sense as well.
Randy, what was the team you used in 2014, and what was the shift into 2015, and what are you using now?
For the most part, I've been playing the same team for the past 3-4 years now, ever since season 2 came out. I do mix it up. I have an alternate. So the team that Thomas saw was an Iliotrope-based team, and that was actually my backup. The normal team that I wanted to run, I talked myself out of at the very, very last minute, and it was the same Robodope team that you've seen countless times. So I ran Iliotropes. I changed it up by throwing Joris in there. This way, I can sweep up the money on my side of the board in the very first turn, which back in 2014-15, no one really was playing the economic game, or at least no one was playing the hardcore, I have all of the money on my side of the board first turn. So that worked up until my defeat against Thomas. And by that, I think that was the very first match. So that really set the tone for the day.
It was the first match. So, yeah.
Very, very first match. But and them's the breaks. But I almost fell into the same trap this year. Whereas again, playing my Malibu team, my Ropadope, and I almost talked myself out of it and going back to the Iliotrope team because it actually got a not really a nerf. I mean, they nerfed the Yugo Young King plus Theo that everyone on the planet was using. Frankly, a Massacre is way better than Yugo Young King is. Whereas Yugo Young King, he's going to slowly kill himself, and his stats change after he takes a certain point of damage. Emma is the same from the beginning of the game to the end of the game. And I've come to hate models that change throughout the game. So I'm not really a fan of the guys with alternate forms. I'm not a fan of Young King. I want the same piece at the beginning of the game to the end of the game, because otherwise I will always be in a situation where, crap, I needed to be in the other form, or crap, I really wish Yugo Young King had one less damage or one more damage at this point.
Yeah.
You can wish in one hand.
Exactly, exactly. So the Malibu team is still a very strong team, and it has a lot of things that really suit my play style, where a lot of people in the United States play rush teams. They play the swarm teams, and the Robodope team is great for that because it's oh look. Not only could I take advantage of your sacrificial character, but I can do it in a way that would allow me to still be safe while doing it. Because a lot of swarm teams, they want you to get trapped by them. They want you to get overrun. But if you're able to pick a guy and throw it, or take out a guy, then backtrack, you're never presenting your backside to the opponent. So that's why that's still a strong team. And the funny thing is, you kind of get into a rhythm which can be good or bad depending on how you play. Thomas actually was able to take advantage of this when I made a mistake and I actually trapped a Kivin. and I took away his wisdom. So that actually cost me an extra GG. That would that have won the game? No, but it certainly would have changed the game.
That's my favorite thing that happens when playing with the Molly team is when they can't get an extra GG.
I think it's really dumb when Molly gets locked by a tofu or a living shovel who are supposed to have itty bitty.
Yes. You got to be careful with that.
Yeah, watch out for giant tofu.
But to move on to your next question, because dear God, I have to talk and talk and talk. I like all of the 2.0 characters. They're all really solid figures. I'm actually most interested in what Lilette brings to the team. I'm probably pronouncing her name wrong. The little dog girl.
It's
Lou's kind of cousin, basically.
Yeah.
I think she's gonna bring she brings a really good support dynamic, and she can slot into other teams where you were previously using like a Jav or a Lou or a little Healy. So she's a solid figure. Julius has a lot of damage, but I'm an Emma player, so it's really hard for me to look at Julius and go, you are mathematically better than Emma for what you bring to the table. I have to play a lot more games to decide whether that's the case or not.
Yeah.
But I certainly am going to have to start planning on facing her because she is the new hotness. A lot of people like her.
Yeah, this might be a question way left field, but was there any talk of rotating figures as far as we were talking about combinations of Krosmaster 2.0 to Season 1? Like, have we heard anything about that? Or is that ever going to be a reality?
About Season 1.
When is that? Is that already planned?
There's no date.
No.
Okay.
I know that it's going to happen.
It's something we'll do eventually, I'm sure.
Well, especially in Germany where they don't have Season 1 at all anymore. For instance, if you go to the Double Critical shop, you can find a Nazrael for, I think it was around $20.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and stuff like that. Or like a Koa for like close to $20. Or a Euro. Or
Koa's going to be worth a lot.
Yeah.
So you're saying we should stock up on Season 1?
I was thinking about it.
Probably.
Just so we can sell it to
just
so we can sell it to international players. I don't think that'd be necessarily a bad idea. But no, I do know that they will do that. I just don't know the time frame of that. And no one knows. I don't think it'll be this year, obviously. But I think in the next 2 or 3 years, we'll see Season 1 go away.
I don't think there's enough figures on the board to remove any seasons.
Yet.
Even
Not
with the
yet.
addition of 2.0?
2.0 is 8 figures. That's not enough to account for the loss of, was it 58 figures?
Is there... Oh, I didn't realize the number was that high.
Oh, yeah. In fact, I think that number's low if you also count in what we called Season 1.5.
I think yeah. I don't think it's going to happen until after 4 and 5 come out. I don't think it'll happen, like I said, 2 or 3 years down the road. Maybe longer if we're... Yeah, I don't think... It's not going to be this year, obviously. It'll be whenever we have enough figures to make up for that, I think. To Randy's point. For sure. All right. Well, outside of that, are there any last things that you would like to say to the listeners and viewers out there? If you could say one last thing, Krosmaster related or not, what would you say?
Stay in school. Don't do drugs.
Baba booey, baba booey, baba booey.
Unless they're prescribed.
Baba Booey, and butts.
Yeah.
All right.
Play more games.
Play, especially online. This whole waiting like a couple minutes to get a match.
Definitely.
Um,
No, obviously, Krosmaster is a hell of a game. I mean, keep playing, keep supporting it. If you're on the fence because of quests or some other bogus reason, just keep supporting it. Just hang in there. It will get better. And at least that's the hope. So,
Yeah.
keep the game going. Keep it relevant in the U.S. so we can go to Europe and actually win a Worlds one of these days.
And if you ever face someone online named No Mercy with a G, the correct move is always forfeit. Or
You should be able to beat name of game.
takes time.
Are you just farming ranking? I mean, I feel online to play to actually get a good game in.
You're right. Never mind. Scratch that.
You just shoot yourself in the foot, man.
Yeah.
No, thanks for having me. As always, anything I can do to kind of help the community at all. It's a really awesome game.
Yeah, and I definitely appreciate it.
I have to agree. Guys out there in TV land, stop caring about Worlds for 2016, 2017. Play games, play the teams you like, play the teams you have fun with, experiment, do wacky stuff, play the online wacky arena modes. Find your center. Get back to the stuff that you enjoy about the game. And then, come back to organized play in 2017.
No, I mean, give it a shot. Don't just give up on the year, but don't have super high expectations.
Yeah, don't play it because you want to be you want to Ash Ketchum this. Just enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, you're doing it wrong.
Although, if you do want to catch all the Krosmasters, I encourage it. They're great collector's items.
Oh, absolutely.
Get them all.
I have young Ogress. You want some?
And I would go as far to say if Worlds is really important to you, work hard for it. If that's what you're into, but don't lose sight of how really this is a game. It's fun, and it's about growing the community, collecting all the figures. I mean, I'm talking with people that I wouldn't have met because of this game outside of this game. People from all over the country, and really, really great people that play this game. So, although we are a little sour at times with the recent changes, because change is hard, I would say I think the future is welcome in my book.
And that's an excellent point. A lot of it is community and the people you meet. I mean, yeah, it's important to have a game that you love and want to compete and be the best in the world. But like I wouldn't know any of these people without this game. And I'm more than happy to have met you all this year. Josh becoming a new friend and knowing Tom and Randy for a while now. The community is a good community. We do like to complain and moan about certain things, but when it comes down to it, the core is a really good group of people, and just kind of encourage you guys to be a part of it. Keep playing, keep giving your input, and that's all you can do. Give feedback, Try to be positive about it, but definitely give your feedback along the way.
Definitely. Well, folks, I appreciate you guys listening, and I appreciate you guys listening to us babble on about the same stuff you see us on Tofu Alliance, but kind of put it all in one place and kind of put out there. A lot of hope for the future and a lot of great thoughts on how to grow this community. And let's push forward. Again, thank you so much, guys. And thanks for listening to the Krosmatch.
Awesome. Thanks. Good night.
Night, guys.